Hello and welcome to Butterfly Journey's Midlife Adventures, where we share real stories of travel, transformation and new beginnings. I'm your host, Joanna, and I want you to know that midlife is our time to step beyond expectations and to use travel or even a relocation as a powerful tool for rediscovery and reinvention.
Hey, soul
Let's
sister,
go.
I heard you made another man cry.
Hey, I'm Joanna Filmer, and welcome to Butterfly Journey's Midlife Adventures. This is a podcast about courage and reinvention in midlife, and I'm telling it and sharing it with you through the lens of travel and transformation and those moments that start to change everything. I'm creating this space, the podcast, and Midlife Butterflies, because like many women, I reached a point where I asked, is this really it? What about me? You know, for years I'd kind of looked after everyone. I was very incredibly responsible, had a job, a profession, but I just wasn't happy. When I hit midlife, I felt like I needed a change. I needed something to give me a space in which to think about what I wanted next in my midlife chapter. And what I realised for me, and what I believe for you, if you're really thinking about changing your midlife and rewriting your midlife chapter, is that the answer can come through travel. For me, travel, I believe, is the most powerful tool for transformation in midlife. When you step out of your routines and you go into a new space, a new place, a new culture, whether it's within your own country, could be the next town, or whether you travel to another completely different culture, you start to see things differently. And in that shift, you can begin to see yourself differently too. There's an internal and an external process that starts to happen. That external stimulation will ignite change within you. So you have this internal process that starts to begin. And that's the heart of my philosophy and what I call the Midlife Butterfly Effect. And it's the idea that midlife isn't a crisis, which is what you always hear about, or it's the end, or, it's not going to be exciting anymore, or, you're not worthy anymore, or any of those things that you kind of have thought about midlife. I left my home 2 years ago. I packed everything up, put everything into storage. I rented out my house, sold most of my stuff, to be honest with you. I saved up the money, sold my car, and I took off. And I travelled for, 7 or 8 months. I did really a lot of fast travel all through Asia, then through the Middle East, back to the UK. This is where my parents are at the moment. I need to be here to help them at this point in time. And I'm going to be travelling in and out of Europe. So I'm still travelling, but the transformation has been huge. And what I've learned through this process is that travel is transformational. And before I left Australia, I had this idea of the midlife butterfly because I just felt like I needed to step away and I needed to kind of fly and find what it was that I wanted next. So this is where I came to the idea of the midlife butterfly. And the midlife butterfly effect for me is, I believe, that we go through 4 stages. That we awaken, and that's when we start to feel and hear this change, that we want to, mix things up, change it. Life can offer us more now, that we start to emerge. So you start stepping out of the old roles and the limitations that you had kind of had you in your space, the same routines, the same things that you were doing. Maybe it was the same job, same relationships. You start to come out of that and you start to really assess what it is that you want. And I believe that then you start to journey. And that's when you start to explore and experiment, and you can take steps into the unknown. And I believe that's where travel is. It can help you move into this new phase in midlife and really find that clarity. And the last stage is you evolve, when you start to really find who you are and integrate all of these changes that you've had that have been going on for you. And you start to live more fully and truly who you are. You reconnect to yourself. So on this podcast, every story that you will hear will touch on those stages in some ways that these women have gone through. They are inspiring women who've left careers, or they've started new businesses, or they've set off solo, or some of them have changed countries and moved using travel as the spark for their reinvention. And along the way, we're going to be honest, because transformation isn't neat and it doesn't happen in one go. It can be cycles, and there can be fears and doubts, but there can also be these amazingly breathtaking butterfly moments that remind us that it's never too late to change. Never. And my hope is that when you listen to these stories, you'll hear echoes of your own story. You will hear you in those stories, and maybe you'll feel inspired to plan a trip and say yes to an adventure, or simply take a small step towards the life that's waiting for you. So whether you're walking in the park or driving to work or dreaming over a map or what it is that you're going to do, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Subscribe so you don't miss any of the stories that I'm going to be sharing. And if you'd like to come into our community and go a bit deeper, there are links in the bottom, the Midlife Butterflies community. At the moment, it's on the Solar Sister Travel and Midlife Facebook group. And I would love for you to come and join there, because the discussions will start to build there, start to build this community where we support one another in midlife. And community is really important. It's another part of my strong belief that we need our communities around us, and we can create these new friendships as we change and evolve and we come into our new self. Subscribe so you don't miss any of the stories. And if you'd like to go a little bit deeper and come and join our community, you'll find the link in the show notes below. At the moment, I've got the Facebook group, Solar Sister Travel in Midlife. We are there growing. I'm excited to see what this will become. And another stage in our development as we become midlife butterflies is finding our new community. Midlife isn't the end of your story. You may feel like that sometimes because you're not quite sure where you're at, but it is the stage in which you give yourself permission to start again. And travel can give you those spaces in which you can step to really reconnect to yourself. So I'm Joanna, and this is Butterfly Journeys, Midlife Adventures. Let's take flight and let's go.